Good evening, everybody, and welcome again to another edition of the Coach's Corner. We're here a day early, but we're here again at the Rarely Public House here in Franklin, Massachusetts. Come on down every Wednesday, see us watch film the show. Come down Friday before every home game and have a couple drinks and something to eat, and then get up to Franklin Field and watch us play football. So today, fellas, we are a player short, a day early. Coach Bain is out sick, but I'm joined by Coach Jacko and Coach Johnny, and we're going to get right at it. So, guys, playing Brockton this week. The Herald and I believe the Globe both have them ranked ahead of us. Is there extra motivation in that week of practice?
No, I wouldn't say that gives us extra motivation. I always, telling the kids not to pay attention to that and everything, but I try to just give them motivation anyways and try to keep them self-motivated.
Yeah, I think the players know it's a tough schedule, so we try to kind of keep it
Absolutely
level all the way through.
Okay, so Franklin gets the ball to start. We don't go 3 and out, but we go 6 and out. We move the ball up. We get a good punt, sends them back deep. Brockton takes over. They move the ball up a little bit, back a little bit, up a little bit, back a little bit, but eventually they get it to the 15. DJ makes a great pass break up in the end zone. We get a jailbreak blitz by Lackey and Quintina, and those two guys have been a menace all year.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, you tell the scout O-line who's trying to block them every week, yeah, they've been incredibly hard to block.
QB, though, scrambles for a long first down run. Bobby Padula makes a big tackle for a loss. Lackey again forces a quick pass. And then it's 4th down again, and they're going in for a touchdown. And this, early enough, brings us to our rare replay of the game, or at least one of them. 4th down, quarterback drops back, throwing, it looks like a little slant route into the end zone, and little Sid jumps the route and makes the play.
Yeah.
It makes the play and takes off up the field.
Takes off up the field, changes field position around immediately.
Huge play.
He's a little ball of energy.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can see him bouncing around on the sideline.
That just lights up his face.
Yeah, he's 2 years removed from 8th grade football, where he got a nice run, spun the ball on the ground, and he said, "How about that, coach?" And I said, "You explain that to your father, to spin on the ground."
Can't imagine he'd like that too much.
So we get the ball on our second set. Lions to Davis. There's another personal foul. We're already out to the Brockton 47 right away. Penalties, though, have been an issue. We get a penalty and a sack, and it moves us back 15 yards. Penalties have been an issue all season long. How do you work to correct those in practice?
I think it's just, paying attention to detail, like if you talk about the line specifically, just keeping your hands inside, keep your feet moving, the basic stuff that'll prevent you from all those, ticky-tack penalties. And then all the personal fouls and stuff is just keeping a level head. And so you just got to hit
Yeah, without a doubt. Correcting your technique and trying to keep some of the attitudes in the right place. So
Right.
You can't waste your energy doing something stupid.
Yeah. So then Zabriskie basically sits down in the middle of the defense, picks up 18 yards on a nice catch and run. DeViti has a couple runs. We get to a 4th and 1, and it happens a couple times during the game where Jace gives a nice hard count and they jump. Is that something we work on during the week? Is that something that you watch film and say, wow, I think they may be susceptible to it?
That's stuff that's worked on. Because we have to be disciplined enough not to jump too.
Right.
So you can't just throw it in there and not have to work on it.
Right.
So we do work on it.
Yeah. And somehow that brings us to the end of the first quarter. That first quarter just flew by like that, whereas the week before, I think the first half lasted about 2.5 hours.
It's funny game to game. It's the same amount of time, but how it feels, depending on the layout of it.
Yeah.
Zabriskie gets 8 to the 4, DeViti to the 1 yard line, and then Lions on a nice RPO, 7-0. The way Jace runs the ball reminds me a lot of the year we had Nick Gordon running the ball.
Yeah.
It's nice to have that little extra weapon on your side.
Yeah, no, Jace is a hell of an athlete, and it allows you to do so many different things and gives that extra layer for the defense to have to prepare for.
Yeah. Brockton gets the ball, a couple runs, 3rd down sack is wiped out by a penalty. Eventually, though, they punt. The one thing I noticed about this is that I think it's Luke Davis who actually lets it bounce a couple times, and with a defender standing in front of him, picks it up. Are we not yelling poison on that, or is that just a Luke make your own decision?
We're actually more yelling, catch the ball. We don't like the ball to hit the ground.
Absolutely, and I saw a lot of that this
hit
week.
the ground,
Bad things can happen.
Right, and it's going to roll another 15 yards.
And you actually saw
We
that.
want to get it in the air if we can.
You saw that on our opening kickoff, where Zabriskie lets the ball hit the ground. You never let a kickoff hit the
It
ground.
was
You don't
almost
have to.
actually the line, the group up in front of him.
Yep.
Really had the opportunity to step back
Yep.
and catch it. So I don't think he would have been up in time.
Yep. And then that play by
We always
Davis.
talk about keeping the ball.
Right. And then Brockton actually later on down the line makes a really bad play on it.
That's right, the ball bounces
Yep.
back.
So we're up 7-0. We got the ball back. And this is where I thought we start imposing our will. DeViti goes 10 yards. Lions to Davis for a 10-yard pass. DeViti goes 8 yards. Lions runs 8 yards. At this point, do you feel your offensive line is now dictating what we can and can't do? Or is it
To
we're
an
still
extent,
doing
yeah.
what we have to do?
To an extent, I think that's with everything. Because I mean, as great as your offensive line can go, and you know they're moving people or whatever. I mean, there's still certain looks where no matter how much you like a play, you still can't call it.
Right.
You know, so I'd say yeah, to an extent, and you just kind of roll with it, but you let them keep their confidence and just keep running with it.
Yep.
So after Lions' second or his 8-yard run, we have our second railway play of the game, where Grayson Hunter pretty much picks it off his tiptoes, catches the ball, makes the guy miss, and then scampers 39 yards for a touchdown, and we're all of a sudden up 13-0.
Yeah.
How
no,
we feeling at that stage?
It was very big to get all those points right before the half.
Yeah, no, it definitely was, and to take a chunk out like that. Anytime you can score on those big plays is exciting, and it's great because the more plays you run, the higher risk you run of getting more penalties.
Right.
So when you can get it all in a chunk, it just makes it that much easier for you.
So the next Brockton drive starts with, they get a +10 penalty, but then Rampino gets a nice sack inside. Rampino's been a nice find as well.
Such a strong player.
Such a big kid.
He's dangerous in practice and he's dangerous in a game, right?
Yeah.
He's all out all the time.
You know, now it's second and long, and Q makes a hell of a read on the run, and really Mac trucks the running back.
And even on that play, though, Julian held him up at
Julian
first,
held
and
him up,
then
yeah.
let him, let Q make that
Yep.
read to get over there.
And it's 3rd and a mile, and we give up a jet sweep followed by a personal foul. It's another killer on the drive.
A couple of things to clean up this year. But
Yeah,
long 3rd down.
Is it sloppy play? Is it just because they're long, broken down plays? Because a lot of times on a broken down play, you're going to get stuff like that.
Yeah.
You get a block in the back, you get a hold, you get a bad tackle.
Then an athlete makes a good play.
Then an athlete makes a good play, and next thing you know, you're all over the place. Rampino and Lackey harass the quarterback into making a bad throw. Padula makes a good interception. It's really nice to have Bobby Padula back on the team.
Yeah. He's the little stock player.
Yeah.
Does it on special teams, everything he's out on.
No, he's everywhere.
Not big at all.
No, he's not.
He's there tired.
But he plays with a hell of a lot of emotion. He's a good player.
That's for sure.
We get the ball back. DeViti goes 17. Luke Davis. All of a sudden, Luke Davis is left alone on an island, or someone's left alone on an island with Luke Davis. You would think by now people would stop doing that, but no, they don't. They did the same thing with Jake Davis when he played.
I'm okay if they don't.
Yeah, and
If they keep it that way.
we air it out 39 yards, and if we haven't taken the air out with a minute to go in the first half, we do on the next play. We kick off to Brockton, like we were just talking about. The
Yeah.
ball hits the carpet and bad things happen.
Yep. Ball bounces away from the returner into an open space. Padula, I think it was, on the spot.
On the spot.
Right
Along
place,
with-
right time, all the
Along with
time.
Frollo getting down there.
Yeah, Frollo's been a nice
He's
little
been a nice-
special teams
His
addition.
speed.
Yep,
Good speed.
he's a tough kid too.
Yeah.
So we get the ball. We're on their 15. We got a Davis incomplete. Lion scampers. DeViti, or no, I'm sorry, Zabriskie tight ropes down the sidelines and makes a hell of a catch.
Yeah.
The one thing I notice about Zabriskie is he is willing to go the hard mile for anything. He's willing to take the shot. He's willing to catch the dirty pass in traffic. He's willing to make whatever.
Keeps the same demeanor all the time. Relaxed.
That might even be the most impressive part,
Yeah.
especially working with high school kids.
Sure.
You probably see it even more with the younger kids. where it's so hard to keep them even keeled.
Yeah,
when
yeah,
it's
they
going
get so
great,
up.
they're all the way
Yeah,
up here, and then
when it
you know,
goes
you
down,
throw
everybody
a
goes
pick
down.
or two, whole teams down. So kids like that who are real even keeled, it's impressive.
Yeah.
We get an incomplete to Luke Davis, who was wide open, but the defender makes a heck of a nice play and just knocks it out of his hand.
Yep.
And then Lions, another 1-yard run. There's 5 seconds to go. Chase, another run and into the corner, and that's it. We go into the half up 27-0. From 0-0 at the end of the first quarter to 27-0. How do you keep the team on an even keel in the locker room at this point?
I don't know. I think they would. But certainly at that point of the game, you don't feel like it's over.
Yeah.
You just got through doing that.
Yeah.
So you can't really let the guard down. I think the third quarter coming out, you're going to stay.
Right, and they're going to get the ball
aggressive.
cycle to
And we know we've got to maybe try to put it away then.
I think, and a lot of people in those situations, they go into halftime or coming out of halftime, and they're like, oh, we're pretending like the score is 0-0, like it's a new game. I think it's kind of tough because you're constantly being reminded, whether it's the scoreboard or anything, right, that it's not that way. So I think you just, like what I did, is just remind the kids how explosive Brockton can be. And, we scored all we scored in like 3.5 minutes or whatever it is. Like, Brockton is a whole nother half.
Yeah. So Brockton, we kick off. This time they handle the kick, but on the first play from scrimmage, they fumble the ball. A few plays later, Lions is in on another run. It's 34-0. A field goal late. We get from after a few Cody Howard runs, a bunch of Dobrisky hard catches. We kick the field goal, and we're up basically 37-0 at that point. And the game's pretty much over at that point. The clock's running. A late touchdown by Brockton, but that seals it. You got to feel really good about a win like that.
Absolutely. Like Coach Bain said in his post-game interview, everyone was saying Brockton was back, and like he said, for a right reason. Like, they are talented, and I bet they win a bunch of games, for the rest of the year. So.
And the size alone, it's just a big team.
There's some big boys on that team.
They dwarf us.
Right. It presents a big problem.
That also shows you how a football game goes, right? A couple turnovers, a couple bad plays.
Sure,
the ball gets rolling against you, and
Had they scored,
yeah.
a couple of quick
Had Sidwell not make that interception, the concussion is a completely different game.
It affects the team's attitude and stuff. Maybe they get down after a while.
Right. Let me ask you a question. So you coached the offensive line. Last year you had 4 seniors and a junior, but you had a dynamic running back.
Yeah.
This year you have 1 senior and 4 underclassmen, 2 seniors,
2 juniors,
right,
and a sophomore.
and then you have a completely different running back.
Yep.
Are you coaching this year differently than last year based upon your line, based upon the running back, or based upon both?
I wouldn't say I am, because the scheme stays the same. And, no matter who's running it or whoever's blocking it, like, outside zone is outside zone and inside zone is inside zone. So I think it'd be kind of, it'd be tough for me to put them in a situation where now I'm coaching it differently.
Sure.
I think the key is to keep it all the same and just keep coaching up the guys you have.
Coach, next week we got Duxbury. They come in about 4 days. Last year got off to a hot start against us. They had 2 great wide receivers and a good quarterback. What do we expect this week?
More of the same. Well coached, a lot of skilled guys. They can attack from different areas. The quarterback's very dangerous. They can good running back. So I don't know. I know last year's game was very exciting.
Yeah,
It went right down to the end, and it was kind of the season, and I feel like it should be the same type of thing. There's such a competitive sports money.
Yep.
They're not going to back down. They're not going to give up.
No. And I'm sure they'll travel well.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
without a doubt. So I think it'll be an exciting game. Tough.
So next Friday, we're back here, 5 o'clock tailgating at the Raillery, 7 o'clock up at Paisani Field for the game against Duxbury. Until next week, for Coach Jacko, Coach Don, I'm used to saying Coach Bain. We'll see you again from here, the Raillery. My name's Kevin Papa. Have a great week.